Hello everybody and welcome back to the Open Door with me, Mickey. This past Friday, we celebrated a very important day in the Seba household, and that was Lucas's Gotcha Day. And 6 years ago, on November 10th of 2011, Matt and I flew up to Chicago, walked into the most loving family's home, and which was Lucas's foster family, and met him for the very first time, got to hold him in person, see his precious little face in person, squeeze his tiny little hands in person, and it was just such a glorious day. I have shared the video on my playlist, so if you want to check it out, it's titled The Big Day, and I just want to give you a little bit of background on how we found Lucas. My cousin has a son who was born with a genetic disorder called Prader-Willi syndrome. So my extended family, we knew a little bit about the disorder because of my cousin's son. And she was on all of these message boards where she could connect with other families who had children with PWS, Prader-Willi syndrome. And Lucas's face came across one of these message boards that said he needed a forever home. And she shared that on her Facebook. And she said something to the effect of, "My house is busting at the seams, but please pray that he finds a forever family." And I was just scrolling through my Facebook feed and saw this post that she put, and I had two thoughts. I was like, we could pray that he finds a forever home, or, we have a home, so why not? So when my husband came home, I said, "Hey babe, I have an idea." And I showed him Lucas's precious face, and I said, I think we need to adopt him and bring him home. And my husband thought about it, and he's like, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, give me a good reason." And he said, "Well, I don't have a good reason to not take this precious boy in." And we basically decided, okay, well then we're going to try to be his forever home. So we contacted the agency, started paperwork and medical training and all of these things that we had to do in order to meet Lucas. And even though when I saw his face for the first time on Facebook, I just had this movement of the heart where I was convinced that he was my son the moment that I saw him. But I would be lying if I said there wasn't some hesitation that took place in my soul. Hesitations that were mostly motivated by fear or uncertainty. Fear of whether or not we could handle Lucas with his disorder. Fear of what the future might hold for him and our family. Fear of finances. Could we do everything we needed to do financially to supply for his medical needs? Fear of just feeling inadequate as a mom. Do I have what it takes to give this precious little boy what he needs? And also uncertainty about what the future will hold, uncertainty about how it would affect our family, uncertainty on how it would affect our daughter Mary, who was 18 months at the time. So just lots of hesitation. And sometimes when we are faced with God's will, there can be fears, uncertainties, or hesitations that enter into our thoughts. And sometimes that can be really overwhelming that we kind of just pass the buck, like, we'll pray that he finds a home. Or we'll pray that this situation works out. Or we will pray that someone else helps out this individual in need of assistance. When really, if we were just to come face to face with our fears, our hesitations, and just really ask ourselves, is there really a good reason that I should not act on whatever situation is placed in front of us? And my prayer for you this week is that you maybe look at some of those things that you're currently facing, or keep this in mind when situations come up in the future. What are those things holding you back? What are the reasons that you're not acting on something that could possibly be God's will for you? And I pray that fear or uncertainty doesn't enter into your final decision. That following God's will, although it can be scary, is full of beauty and growth and a joy that you can never really imagine until you're in that situation. Our son Lucas has brought our family so much joy. He is funny. I mean, he was really quite hilarious. He finds excitement in the smallest things. I mean, this past Halloween, every house he went to, and we went to, I don't know how many houses, 20? But every house he went to, when he got a piece of candy, he was so excited, like it was the first time he'd ever seen a piece of candy. And he would say, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." And he would run down the walkway and scream at Matt and I got a treat, or "I got candy." And his excitement for life is infectious. He is full of joy and calm. And he teaches us so many things about life, about how to be patient, about how to endure challenges, about how to find excitement in everyday life. And so my prayer for you this week is to look at those things that are set before you and pray for wisdom, that God will enlighten your mind on what His will for you is, and that if there are any fears, uncertainties, or hesitations that you're facing, to understand that God will give you every bit of grace and strength that you need to get you through those fears, those uncertainties. And sometimes God just wants you to trust Him. And our life has been immensely blessed because we have put our trust in God. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And if you have a chance, look at the video of his big day when we met him for the first time. But again, I pray for you this week. Fully embrace God's will for you. Try to hand over every anxiety that you have in the situation to God and let Him fill you with His joy, with His strength, with His courage. And the outcome that God will give you will be far greater than anything that you can ever imagine. If you have any similar story about you placing trust in God, I would absolutely love to hear from you. So please post it below, comment on YouTube or my Facebook or my Twitter. Again, I hope that you have a great week. Take care and God bless.